Welcome to a new story made by Oracle 1. The Man with the Plastic Smile. Elliot was an ordinary boy with an extraordinary secret. On the outside, he was the quiet kid in Mr. Harrington's 7th grade class, the one who sat in the back and kept his head down. But inside the pages of his battered notebook, a different world unfolded. One of odd sketches and eerie figures that no one else seemed to see or understand. It started innocuously, one rainy afternoon when boredom gnawed at Elliot's mind during a dreary history lecture. He doodled a face, a simple face with two wide eyes and a grin that stretched unnaturally, almost unnervingly. The grin was so wide it looked like it had been carved and molded, as if made of some unnatural material. He called him, the Man with the Plastic Smile. The figure had this terrible, gleaming grin that never faded, as if frozen in place, unyielding and unkind. Elliot wasn't sure why he drew the man, only that he felt compelled. The grin scratched at the back of his mind, refusing to be ignored. Days passed, and Elliot forgot about the drawing until strange things began to happen. It started with his photography hobby. Elliot loved taking pictures, especially during walks in the neighborhood or the old woods behind his house. One afternoon, he developed some prints in his makeshift darkroom, a closet lined with black sheets and a small light bulb. The photographs were ordinary, snapshots of trees, streets, and the rusty swing in the park. But buried in the corner of one photograph was a face, eyes shiny and unblinking, wearing that same unnerving plastic smile. At first, Elliot thought it was a trick of the light or a random stranger who happened to be in the background. Yet, no one else noticed the figure in the photo, and when he showed his mother, she laughed it off as a prank or a smudge on the lens. But then Elliot noticed the figure again, in more pictures. Always in the background, always the same grinning man, getting closer. With each new photo, the man's figure grew larger, filling more of the frame until it wasn't just a speck in the distance but a looming presence beside Elliot himself. At school, when Elliot reviewed group photos, he saw the figure standing behind the teacher, then behind the principal, then closer, almost beside him. The plastic grin was locked in place, unchanging, unrelenting. Elliot's heart beat faster as he flipped through his photo album, each new snapshot revealing the grinning man inching closer, like some sinister observer stalking him through the lens. He tried telling others, but no one could see the man with the plastic smile. To everyone else, it was just an ordinary photo. But to Elliot, the man was real and growing nearer. That night, alone in his room, Elliot stared at the notebook where he first drew the face. The lines of the sketch seemed sharper, the grin haunting. An icy chill crept over his skin as the pages fluttered despite the closed window, whispering secrets only Elliot could hear. Shadows in the corner of the room shifted unnaturally, and the silence pressed against his ears like a weight. Elliot's days turned into a fevered sequence of paranoia. He stopped taking pictures, but still found the man appearing, not in photos, but in reflections. The grin watched him from the darkened windows, from mirrors fogged by his breath. It was always watching, always waiting. His parents became concerned, noticing his pale complexion, his reluctance to eat, the way he jerked his head whenever someone approached. School counselors were called, but their soothing words felt hollow to Elliot. No one else could see it, no one else knew. One afternoon, desperate, Elliot staged a plan. He would confront the man face to face. He took his notebook, filled with sinister sketches of the plastic smile's figure, and headed into the woods where he had taken many photographs. The tree's skeletal branches reached out like fingers, and the sun's light strained through gray clouds, casting deep shadows. He arrived at the clearing, a forgotten glade where the grass grew wild, untouched by time. Breathing heavily, Elliot held up his notebook and called out, "If you're real, if you can hear me, show yourself. I'm not afraid." The air grew dense, and the temperature plunged. A rustle came from behind the trees, slow and deliberate. Elliot's eyes widened as the figure stepped into view, tall, slender, unnervingly still except for that all-consuming smile. The grin was plastic indeed, gleaming like porcelain under the dim light, too wide, too perfect, frozen in a grotesque rictus. "You summoned me," the man said, voice like scraping nails on chalkboards. The sound scraped inside Elliot's skull, worse than any nightmare. Elliot's hands trembled, but he held firm. "Why are you here? Why are you in my pictures?" The creature tilted his head, unblinking. "Because you invited me. You gave me form with your hands, your mind. Your fear feeds me." Elliot's heart hammered. "What do you want from me?" The man's grin stretched impossibly wider, as if he could smile forever, an unnatural fissure from ear to ear. "I am the reflection of your darkest thoughts, the shadow lurking where you don't look. I am the smile that hides behind your face when you pretend you're okay." Elliot swallowed hard. This was no mere phantom, it was a part of himself, carved from his worries and shaped by his silence. The plastic smile grinned like a living curse. "How do I make you go away?" Elliot demanded. The grin flickered, a strange mixture of amusement and malice. "You must accept me. Let me be visible, let the world see the fears you hide." "But everyone will think I'm crazy," Elliot whispered. The figure tilted his head again. "Better to be honest than broken inside." Elliot closed his eyes, feeling the weight of years spent bottling up fear, sadness, and isolation. The grip of loneliness was suffocating. He opened his eyes and nodded. "I accept you," he whispered. The figure smiled. No longer just a plastic grin, but something softer, almost sad. "You have taken the first step." With that, the man dissolved into the mist, leaving Elliot alone in the damp woods, but somehow lighter. The plastic smile was gone, not forever, but for now, retreating. Back home, Elliot looked at his notebook. The sketches were still there, but they seemed less threatening, more like old scars than fresh wounds. And from that moment on, the grinning man stopped appearing in his photographs. Like and subscribe for more stories.